from CreativesAtWork. So for those who don't know us, we are a media agency that provides matchmaking and project management services to our client by accessing our pool of talented freelancers. Today, we have more than 1,500 freelancers under our network and completed more than 500 jobs at our projects and of course counting. During this circuit breaker period, we check in with our network of freelancers, friends. We receive numerous feedback that many are actually in a tough situations. But whatever your situation is in, we want to let you know that you're not alone. Every business owner, workers, or freelancers are all challenged at this moment in time. And of course, on hindsight, we could have done a few things differently. But this is not the time to look back or beat ourselves up. I think it is the time for us to figure out what's next. So today's session is really for us to come together and see how we can emerge stronger and better as creative freelancers from this time. This is definitely an unprecedented time for all, but of course, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it might signal a new norm for many. So we should take advantage of the current situation and get ourselves ready for recovery so that we can be top of the recovery to ride the wave instead of to be at the bottom of the cycle again. So today, I'm very happy to have KQ and Pei Ling to join us for today's sessions. KQ and Pei Ling, do you want to wave? Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. So each of us will do a 15-minute sharing before we open up for a short Q&A. So if you have any questions, do leave it at the comments below. We will answer them after our individual sharings. So first of all, without further ado, I'd like to invite KQ to start off the session first. So KQ is a freelance producer. He moved to Beijing since 2012 and has collaborated and worked with many top filmmakers in China, including Stephen Chow. Recently, he's developing new projects in LA and Taiwan, creating stories with multicultural themes for a worldwide market. So KQ will be sharing with us how can we better prepare ourselves for the recovery of COVID. So KQ, good evening. The floor is yours for the 50 minutes.
Hi guys, hi Jayce. Hello creatives at work. Hello freelancers. Hello people that are thinking about freelancing. It is a great honor to be here today, to be invited by Creatives at Work to share my experiences and thoughts. I call these experiences and thoughts because I wouldn't dare call it advice. There is so many different kinds of freelancers in the gig economy and so many different job scopes that it's hard to use one kind of idea that would be helpful advice for everyone. So hopefully my experiences and thoughts about the post-COVID economy will be useful to our audience and our friends here today. I divide my thoughts today into two categories, tangible and intangible preparation. What kind of tangible preparation can we have for the post-COVID economy? Obviously, a lot of work, a lot more work will move online. Now, in the pre-COVID world, it would be much easier to schedule a flight, go into that city, sit down for dinner and establish that human connection. Even though you can do that meeting on Zoom, on Skype, sometimes it makes more sense to establish the human connection first before you take on the project. Sometimes projects take a long time. So obviously you want to know the person more, and it's not something that you can easily do over Skype, Zoom, online meetings. But we have to prepare ourselves for the post-COVID world where, okay, now meetings are going to be online. A lot of projects are going to be fully digital on the digital network. So the key tangible preparation here will be how do you manage your information flow? Now, what do I mean by information flow? There is information coming from your client for your project, for your freelance project. And it can be in the version of a call, or you guys schedule a chat online and then your client tells you about the project. So that's the first flow of information. Now, Usually there's emails, there's calls, there's web conferences, and you end up with pieces of information that's conveyed to you. Obviously, it's all in your brain, but as a freelancer, there are times when you're working alone. There are also times when you're working with an online team or you're working with the client who is connecting you to various colleagues and teammates in his organization. So the flow of information, if it's on the web conference, if it's on the calls, and if there is no one taking minutes, no one doing a meeting minutes, then emails in the post-COVID world would be, I think, the same in the pre-COVID world, where it would be a good place to archive information as in terms of customer instructions and the action plan that you have. So what I mean is always follow up with an official email doing a recap of your freelance project, information, instructions from your client, and the action plan forward. So the email acts as an official document trail that allows you to track the flow of information between you and your client. Otherwise, often you end up with a you say, he say, you said, she said situation if you just commit verbally over a call. Of course, that's common sense, but hopefully that's a helpful reminder. So emails with clear titles that will be a good archiving tool. And then calls, so instead of a lengthy email to bounce ideas, right? For creative brainstorming, definitely use phone calls and web conferences instead. That would be my thoughts on the post-COVID world. It would be better to do a quick WhatsApp call, WeChat call, Zoom call, and quickly bounce ideas rather than write a long, lengthy email and trying to explain verbally. So my thoughts on especially with creative freelancing is that you use email as an archiving tool. You use calls and web conferences for a quick bouncing of ideas, and then in terms of online documents and then working files, obviously you need to be aware of safety. This is already the norm in the pre-COVID world, but in the post-COVID world, when even more work is moving online, you have to be aware of your online folder safety and little things like who you share the online folder with, who gets access to the working file, how do you name the files to easily track. Because I've been in international freelance projects where there are multiple freelancers and the project managers neglect simple things like a file naming convention. They neglect simple things like file access management. So this easily leads to miscommunication or even mistrust between the team members. So having clarity between you, your team, or you and your client about file access uh, is also very helpful in creating autonomy in terms of work, because sometimes people can just grab the files online instead of having to call you and ask for stuff. So that's, I think, one of the tangible things I feel would be very important for the post-COVID economy. Managing information flow online with the awareness of how to properly use emails, calls, web conferences, and online folders, shared folders. So that's the first tangible part. The second tangible part I want to talk about is clients and cash. Are you ready to get paid in the post-COVID economy? Now, remember, with viral outbreaks, there will be there's now COVID-19, maybe there will be COVID-20, COVID-21, touch wood. We don't We don't. Nobody wishes to have a pandemic, but the reality is with global travel right now, people will bring about viral outbreaks. So with global travel being put on so many restrictions, sometimes you cannot fly into another city to verify your bank account. Sometimes you key in a wrong password and your your bank account in a different country is frozen because you misspelled your password. So sometimes you have to bring your personal documentation into the bank to authenticate your identity, but you cannot do that because of the post-COVID world where travel is restricted. In this situation, then you need to prepare a backup plan in terms of how your client can pay you. So each freelancer works differently. Some prefer PayPal, some have a different business account and a personal account. People have different financial wisdom. But the question that I want to ask is, do you have preparation to make it easy for your client to pay you? Or are you creating hassles for your client in terms of international digital transfers? So that's something to consider while you are preparing for the post COVID economy. And the same question applies to yourself. Sometimes, as a freelancer, you're not just working alone, you are managing a team of freelancers. And if your freelancers run into problems receiving your payment, how do you deal with that? So there are no perfect answers here. People have different banking practices, and there are different um, conventions in different projects. But the question that hopefully will be a good reminder is, how do you pay others and how do you ensure payment in a post-COVID world? So that's something to consider as you prepare for the economy. So speaking of the economy situation, the economic situation post-COVID, obviously things are going to be slow. So payment is actually a good opportunity to create empathy and connection with your client. And that's where I move into the second part of my presentation, of my sharing session, the intangibles of preparing for the post-COVID economy. Human connection is such an abstract thing, right? Some people just naturally click, some people don't. But how does payment create connection, that human connection? Obviously, you are in a tough spot. Your client's business may also be in a tough spot. And so when you have true empathy and you understand each other's situation and you're trying to help each other out, reducing your freelance rate, reducing your price, and using a pricing strategy to show people that you're willing to help. This could create a genuine bond and connection between you and your client, because your client knows that you're not just super focused on the business, but as a human being, you are also trying to help everyone out. So empathy with awareness and action. Obviously, you need to be aware of the kind of economic and social situation that your collaborators, partners, and clients are in. That will let you decide the kind of action that you can take. And one combination of tangible and intangible tangible action with intangible result is the idea of reducing your rates to help your clients out. So obviously the result is intangible because you don't know the degree to which it would foster a better connection, right? But in this case, I feel that it's also a good chance for you to analyze and understand your client. If you help people out and they appreciate it, then obviously it might lead to a longer lasting and more positive relationship between you and your client. So as we talk more about human connection, I want to talk about something very simple like a phone call. Human connection is very abstract, very intangible, but something like a phone call is a web call is something you can easily do. And there is a landmine here. People, especially if as a freelancer, you call up your clients to show that you care. If it's not coming from a genuine place, you might as well not do it. But if it's a truly authentic and genuine call, then sometimes in this situation, the client and service provider relationship takes a back seat, and you are just, two people who care about each other, well-being, and then genuinely, discussing your worldview and sharing. You might think, why would I give a damn about that? But here's the thing. There are good clients and there are bad clients as a freelancer, right? And as you talk more, share more, and understand each other more, you understand your clients in a multi-dimensional way, and that helps you choose your clients. You can see who you want to get closer to, and you can also decide who you want to have even more social distance with. So I feel that in a world of social distancing, there's actually a lot of opportunities for more authentic human connection. And then in the final part of my thoughts sharing session, I want to talk about this topic of structure and chaos. So information flow can have structure, pricing strategy can have structure, and then but human connection is often chaotic. But I think this is a good chance to get into this quantum state mindset, right? The simultaneous state of all things. Let me get back to the word structure here. Structure can stimulate growth. When there's routine, there's a learning routine, there's a training routine, structure can stimulate growth. But structure as a concept can also stifle growth, right? Because routines might become boring repetition, and structure might become self-limiting frameworks. So structure can be good, structure can be bad. The COVID situation can be good, the COVID situation can be bad. It is neither or. Specifically, it can be multi-dimensional. I think when you have that multi-dimensional state of mind as a freelancer, there's actually serenity because you are not thinking about control. You are understanding the multi-dimensional state of business, of many things. And with that awareness, you hopefully gain a serenity, and then you're able to very calmly see things from your perspective, your client's perspective, and you and your client's target market's perspective. You're able to have that sensitivity. And speaking of sensitivity, in a post-COVID world, right? In a post-COVID world, there is a lot less information very often. There will be a lot more cues that you won't get. So let's say you are in a situation where you meet up and you're wearing a mask. There will be a lot of human cues that will be missing. Just now we talked about the tangible information flow situation online, right? But that's just written information or visual and audio. But there will be a lack of information about human connection and human cues. And this is really why, it's so difficult, or rather, it's much harder to function in the post-COVID economy, because often you pick up on the right cues like energy and nuance when you are in the same room. But if you're working long distance, how do you become sensitive to non-verbal, non-written human cues? Because my belief is that it's only when you read these cues correctly that's more important than reading your email. I think reading human cues to foster efficient and warm connections, that's extremely important. But in a post-COVID world with half of the human information missing, with over the internet, you cannot give someone, because sometimes you cannot verbalize it. All you can do is give someone a warm, encouraging pat on their shoulder, on their back, because in that moment, there's no amount of human language that can communicate how you feel and how you empathize. So, in preparing for the post-COVID economy, I feel that there will be, in terms of intangible preparation, preparing for the intangibles, there's really a need to be more sensitive to human cues. And in every human tribe, every human sphere of interaction, that takes time. The only thing you can do is have greater patience, look for context, look for contextual clues, and at the end, right here, how I want to wrap up is that I've shared these thoughts, but you are free to ignore all these ideas, because maybe this is the perfect period for you to just boot up the world, have a good sleep, have a good rest, and come out of this refreshed and prepared for the post-COVID world. So don't feel the need to rush and prepare. Oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that for the post-COVID world. Maybe the most simple thing that you need to do right now is calm down and have a good rest. Cheers to our adventures in the post-COVID world. Cheers. Back to you, Jayce.
Thank you, KQ, for the sharing. Really appreciate it. So during your sharing, there's actually a couple of questions that came out. So before we actually get to the questions, I will actually read out to you first, so you can actually think about it, right? So the question and answer, we will come back to it after all the speakers has actually shared our 15-minute sharing. All right. So KQ, one of the question is, I am trying to earn some money during COVID-19 period. Should I create an online business during this period? Okay, so this is question number one. Second question is, do you think that the budget for Hollywood or China blockbusters will be affected in post-COVID-19 world? That is second question. Then I think there's one more question. Yeah, so there's another question. Should I create an online business to earn some income during this period? So these are the three questions. So for our viewers out there who have asked the question, please stay with us. So because I have two more speakers sharing, then right after that, we will go into Q&A. So for myself, I'm Jayce. The next sessions, I'll be sharing with you more about the skill sets that the freelancer should look at to equip yourself with to get ready for the recovery of the current situation. So I've prepared some slides. Let me just share with you my slides. Here you go. All right. So after hearing KQ's, I would say sharing, right? I guess without doubt, right, the world is definitely not going back to how it was, right? Before COVID happens. So as a freelancers or self-employed, we probably, could have seen it coming, or we could have been more prepared. Part of Freelancing 101 always tell us, right, that the only constant thing in a freelance business is really always to expect the unexpected and dealing with the unstable nature of our business. However, when COVID hit us, I must say many of us are actually not prepared. This is actually an unprecedented time, right? It puts many companies out of businesses. It will put many companies out of businesses, but yet it may also create a lot of opportunity and make companies or even ourselves much stronger. So looking back, right, the invention of internet has also put many companies out of business. And the common thread is, companies who cannot reinvent themselves, whether is it during the rise of internet, during digitalization, or even now during COVID. Those are the companies who will not be able to survive, right? So what COVID has actually happened to us, it has merely just accelerated and pushed for what is going to come anyway, right? The acceleration to the shift to online is something that we have to expect that it will continue, just like what KQ has actually shared with us. So basically, the pandemic has just bring the future of work right at our doorstep. So how can we react to it? What can we do to ensure that we are still relevant to the future of work? First of all, I feel that it's important as freelancers at this point in time for us to do a stop take, right, on our current situation, irregardless of what trade or what specialties you are currently having. Right? The thing is, we have to figure out where we stand, right? Now is the time to take stock of your business situation and really have a realistic gauge. How badly are you affected, right? And you should be truthful about your current circumstances, right? Is your current job loss really due to the pandemic? Or is it something that the job that you're currently doing are anyway going to go away, probably in the next 3 to 5 years? It's just that pandemic has actually accelerated, those jobs going away. Do you think the job, right, that has been delayed, right, will it come back once the pandemic is settled, right? Or is it a job loss forever? So this is something that you need to take this time to actually consider. Second is to use this period to review your business tool platform and expenses. While going over your current business situation, it is also essential to analyze all the recurring expenses your freelance business is currently incurring and to streamline them whenever you can. Right? The chances are this effect will last for several months. Even then, it may take the markets a considerable amount of time to recover. So reducing your regular business expense is important and will probably is the action that will help your business to survive until the market picks up again. And the last point is really harness your network, right? If you don't harness them right now, then when is it going to be? The thing is, don't stand still. Just because it's a pandemic, just because we know job is hard to come by, doesn't mean that we should actually stand still too. Look into other ways of getting projects, right? Chat up with a client that you have not been in a while, and find out how they are. Or perhaps, right, a long-term clients who can't hire you at this moment in time could actually refer you to someone else. So the thing is, don't, just because it is pandemic, just because we are all at home, we actually stop work altogether. Right? There is something that you can actually do to actually, take a look at the current changes, right? Or at least, have a real, I would say, do some research to understand what are the changes that's happening to your freelance career right now, right? Take a look at the demand for your services, right? And which other services probably now you can actually provide remotely to cope with the challenges of the modified work and life routines. COVID may have crippled the demand for some of the established services or some of the services that we as freelancers currently provide. But the massive change in people's life has actually undoubtedly created new service needs as well. So it's up to us to analyze those needs, innovate our business offering accordingly, and overcome our current difficulty. Well, what we can safely deduce is that COVID has actually forced many businesses to embrace technology, whether they are prepared or not. So everybody is learning technology and is acquiring new technology too. And all of us, right, whether you're small business, big business, we all now need a stronger online presence than ever before. So post-COVID, we will see companies, right, most likely will move forward with a smaller workforce and will automate their processes like never before. So this is a great opportunity I see for the freelancers across the board, across the industries, right? Cost saving will be on the top of the mind for many companies right after the recovery and right after the dust, etc. So leveraging on-demand experts from time to time who has been there, done that before, is actually a logical move and probably more cost-effective to the company in the long run. So I think the question is, if you believe this is going to happen, then where are you, right? Are you right at the doorstep of providing such services to the client when things are back to normal? So what are some of the skill sets that will be important for us? We need to use the skill set now, right? For those who already have the digital skill, like what KQ mentioned, good for you, right? Now is the time to look at sharpening it and polishing it. For those who hasn't really quite have it, right, then now is the time to actually equip yourself with the skills, right? So digital skills is important. Digitalization will happen at a speed and scale that we will never see before, when dust is settled, and it's going to affect all sectors, all industry, whether it's your education, your health, your finance. So it's no longer a good to have. In the past, we can actually say that, I'm a writer, so maybe I don't really need to understand how social media works, right? So it's no longer that case. Digital skills will be critical for freelancers, both in terms of helping yourself as freelancers to reach out to new clients or to more clients, and also to help your clients to reach out to their clients. It's an important time for freelancers to assess our own strength, sharpening our tool right now and our skill profiles, and of course think about the new services that we can provide in this whole new digital world. Key digital skill sets could, help businesses to ramp up their digital presence. Right? Some of the areas we can consider include online marketing. Do you know lead generation tool that's out there right now that can help your client to increase deal flow as the economy stabilize, right? You might want to pick up coding, right? If you think that that is something that you like to do, right? Web development, content creation in the digital space, marketing. These are all good skills to have so that you can actually develop to boost your own businesses and also to help your clients to boost theirs. One of the key things in terms of the digital aspect is understanding the SEOs, right? You don't have to be an expert in it, but if you do understand how the various platform works and a little bit about the SEO optimizations, then I think you have a value, right, to provide like no other freelancers, or it will actually help you to stand out from your competitors. Another thing is multi-skill probably will going to be the norm in the future. Right? This is not something new, but due to the current situation, we see this more clearly than before. Right? In the past, we tend to want to be specialists, right? This is how they define freelancers, right? We are all specialists in our own field, right? Owning our own rights of expertise. But what the current crisis has actually taught us is that it is no longer enough to just have one single skill set. You need to have multi-skills you need to have multiple skills in order to survive a pandemic of this scale. And freelancers especially need to look for a secondary or maybe even a third skill sets. Understanding another language could be a benefit as well. Like, we are already bilingual. We know Chinese and English. Maybe we could pick up Bahasa, so that we can actually expand the reach of our market as well. A case in point, I was just talking to one of our freelance motion graphic designers and checking in how is he doing. Surprisingly, he told me that he's very busy. So which I thought that, it's good for you, you're busy. And I asked him, what are you busy with? He's busy helping small businesses build websites. So he's not, he is a freelance motion graphic designer, but his job currently that he's doing during this period are not related to his expertise. It is helping other companies to create website. So luckily he actually has this secondary skill. So during this period of time, he is not as worried, right, as a lot of us out there. So this is just one example of how a secondary skill set comes in to help. Of course, the last point, right, which I think is something that has been around for a while, right, especially more so for self-employed as well as freelancers, is strong business skill sets so as to create multiple streams of revenues. As a responsible business owner and self-employed persons, one important factor that we have to consider, right, and COVID has actually demonstrated, we need to build multi-stream of revenue rather than just to rely on service fee. We need to constantly think creatively and do our research, right? How can we find more ways to monetize our business? Whether is it by bringing it online, It could be a small business setting up a virtual store, right? Or a freelance professional breaking into creating like online courses, or even becoming a trainer, right? Creating different kind of contents for different people. So the bottom line is the current shift, right, in the global economic situation were not foreseeable, and there's no denying that many businesses, both large and small, they probably may not survive the current crisis. But however, as freelancers, we are actually much more nimble. And if we can make the best use of the situation, staying flexible, adapting to changing demands, and innovating accordingly, we can actually maximize our business chance of making it through. And one thing which is beyond doubt, these businesses, right, or our businesses, right, if we manage to make it on to the other side of the crisis, we will emerge stronger, more competitive, and more geared towards success, right, than we are ever before. So not sure if you have agreed with me, right? I will stop my sharing of the screen right now, right? Okay. But I do hope, the discussion, the sharing, right, from both myself and KQ could spark off some thought for you. And if there's anything, please, if you have any questions, right, do leave it at a comment below and let us know, right? We will address the questions after the sharing of our last speakers, which I now want to hand over the time to Pei Ling. So Pei Ling is a media risk consultant at Starlight Media Consultants, where she actually advises companies and media professionals on good business practices, as well as coverage needed for feature films, documentaries, TVCs, or other corporate formats. So Pei Ling will be sharing with us how can we better protect ourselves for the futures. So Pei Ling, I will hand over the time to you.
Hello, everyone. So just give me a few seconds for me to set this up. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about how we can better protect ourselves for the future. So a little bit about myself. Okay, I've been in the creative industry for many years. So my first job, I was actually a producer writer in a local film production house. So fast forward many years, okay, 3 years ago, I started my own company, Starlight Media, where I've been working with companies, employees, and freelancers in the creative industry. And like many of you, I'm self-employed too. So many of us, including myself, we are facing difficulties during this COVID period. And I think we can all learn from one another and be better prepared for the future. So some lessons that we can learn through COVID-19. I think COVID-19 has helped us to see the importance of, first of all, setting aside an emergency fund, okay, which is a pool of savings that we put away to meet our basic needs in case we can't work. Secondly, we need to be looking into earning income from other sources to supplement what we earn from our regular work. Now, this has been something that Jayce was talking about. And third, having sufficient insurance coverage for ourselves and our businesses. So, setting aside an emergency fund. So what is an emergency fund? It is a sum of money that you set aside in case of accidents, sudden illness, or unexpected loss of income. Okay, and this amount should be able to sustain you and your dependents, say if you have children or elderly parents that you're supporting, for up to 6 months, assuming that you are unable to work during this period of time. So it is a financial priority for every working adult, whether you're self-employed or working as an employee. You need an emergency fund. So how much do you need to set aside for your emergency fund? So what I would advise for all of us to do is to start calculating what is your monthly basic expenses. For example, your food, transportation, phone bills, insurance premiums, bank loans, so on and forth. Total up that amount, multiply by 6, and you should come up with roughly what you need to set aside for your emergency fund. Now, I think if 6 months seems like a very steep goal for you, work towards saving 3 months first. But you do need that savings to buffer you in case an emergency like COVID-19 crops up again. Okay, your emergency fund should be kept in a separate bank account from your regular expenses, so you know that this is not money that you splurge on your next holiday. Okay, so next I'm going to be talking about having alternative income streams, earning income from sources other than what you do for your regular work. Okay, so just now Jayce was talking about all of us being in the creative industry and having very good niche skills and hobbies, and being able to look into it and find opportunities for yourself to learn new skills and also be making incomes from various sources. So there are some of us who are more tech savvy, so we may be have already adopting new ways of earning income. Like for example, looking into affiliate marketing. That means using your existing website and inviting advertisers on your site so you could earn money from them. You could be very good at making YouTube videos. Some of us may be looking into writing short courses. And some of us who are very good in photography, graphics, and videos could be earning small amounts from selling the rights to these. So each of these methods will take you time and effort in the beginning to build, but can potentially earn you a small income stream later on. So we're talking about multiple income streams here, and post-COVID, I think this is all what these are all extra skill sets that can help us and enhance our potential after COVID. Okay, so and maybe these are all things that we can look into as a community to help each other out. Okay, next, I'm going to be talking about passive income, which is income that requires you to put in little effort to earn and maintain. Okay, so many self-employed people, like myself and many of us here who are freelancing, tend to be ill-prepared for retirement. I think it's important for us to start retirement planning as early as possible, even if it's just setting aside $100 a month. So these are two tried and tested ways. Okay, so do look into insurance plans that can pay out an annuity to you in time to come. Okay. Secondly, you can be looking into dividend-paying stocks and bonds. So these two ways are tried and tested ways that can give you regular cash payout to supplement your income while working and during your retirement years. Now, many of us who are self-employed, we may have irregular income, but we have a fixed amount of expenses to meet. And this fixed amount of expenses will go up as you go through life. For example, when you start having children, buying your house, preparing for retirement. So having a regular income stream, especially if it's passive income, is definitely going to help you. So for those of us with long time horizon before your retirement, let's say in your 20s or your 30s, good news to you, your investment can grow exponentially. So whatever small amount you put aside right now, it will grow to become a big amount later on. Now, for those of us in our 40s and 50s, it's not too late to start planning. You do need to, and do look into your retirement planning. It is a very urgent thing for you to do. Okay, do make use of free webinars out there. I think this COVID-19 situation where we're all during the circuit breaker period, it does provide for us good opportunities to learn basic investment and financial planning skill. Okay, one of my trusted partners is actually having an upcoming webinar. It's called 4 Reasons Why You Should Consider Investing. It'll be held on the 5th of May. So this seminar is about how COVID-19 can open up investment opportunities for you, because stocks and bonds right now are at all-time low. So it may be a good opportunity for us to go in. I am very inexperienced with investments, but I thought this might be a good time for me to pick up some skills as well. So do scan the QR code if you have the time to attend, or if you're interested, you can drop me a note. Now next, I'm going to talk about how you can stretch every dollar that you spend on insurance. Okay, start by reviewing your existing insurance plan. Okay, I think most of us will have insurance plan that we bought a long time ago, or insurance plans that our parents bought for us. So what you need to do is to bring out all your insurance plan, lay them out on the table, and look out for two things: gaps in coverage, first of all. Okay, are you missing coverage for any of these 5 important areas? Hospitalization, critical illness, accidents, disability, or death. Now, these are 5 basic areas that every person would need coverage for. Secondly, you need to be looking at whether you have any overlapping coverage. Let's say, for example, some of us may actually have 2 personal accident plans, okay, and actually no coverage for critical illness. Now, it is important for you to balance up your coverage so that you are covered for all these 5 areas. Okay, next, if you are severely underinsured, okay, so you might be asking yourself, okay, what is the most basic insurance plan that I need to have? First of all, I think you need to be looking at your hospitalization. So all of us who are Singaporeans or Singapore residents, we are covered automatically by basic MediShield Life. So it will cover your expenses from C-class ward to a 6-bedder in a government hospital. Now, should you want to have higher coverage, say if you want to stay in a higher class ward in a government hospital, or if you want to stay in a private hospital, you will need to upgrade to a private integrated shield plan. Now, for private integrated shield plans, there are a few insurers that's offering this product, and they're all comparable. So just choose whichever insurer that you're the most comfortable with. Now, after you've looked into your hospitalization plan, what you need to do is to look into getting a whole life policy. Now, it's important for you to get a whole life policy that covers you for early stage critical illness. Now, there are many older plans that covers critical illness, but at a late stage. Okay, so nowadays, a lot of newer insurance products cover you for early stage critical illness. This is important because if you get a condition like cancer, you will need the payout to come at the early stage, where you where this money can pay out and you could treat all this, you could get all the treatment that you need with this amount of money. Okay, so whole life insurance plan, it is a huge commitment. Okay, so because you need to be paying that for a long time to come. Okay, so do compare a few products before choosing one that is the most suitable for you. So these 2 types of insurance policies, okay, your hospitalization, your whole life plan, are underwritten based on your health status. Okay, so which is why I'm urging all of you, it's best to get it while you're still young and healthy. Okay, next, I'm going to be talking about your business insurance. All of us who are self-employed, or if you're freelancing, you are the owner of your business. And it is important that you take care of your business by knowing what is the right kind of insurance coverage that you need. And I'm going to be giving you some tips on how you can save on your insurance premiums. Okay. Now, if you run a home-based business just like me, okay, you can actually be looking into getting a home insurance policy because some of these policies allow you to insure your digital equipment, that like your laptops, your cameras, as part of your home content. So what you need to do is at the start of the policy, list out all these equipment, okay, and make sure that they are insured under your home insurance plan. Okay, now for all these items, keep all the receipts. Do not ever throw away any of the receipts because in times of claim, you will need to produce the original receipts. Okay, so next, if you have outdoor media equipment, say if you're a videographer or a photographer or a sound recordist, you bring out equipment out of your house for commercial purpose, what you do need is a commercial all-risk insurance for these items. Okay, so such an insurance plan pays out for repair cost in case your equipment is damaged. It also pays for replacement cost. That means the cost of buying a new unit if your equipment is stolen or damaged beyond repair. Like say, for example, it drops into the sea. There's no way for you to retrieve it or repair it. So a commercial all-risk insurance is all the more important if you travel overseas with equipment, because based on my experience, overseas travel is most of the time that's where equipment get damaged. Okay, so how can you save on premiums? Focus on your valuable pieces that you use the most often. Okay, insure those. Now you may have equipment that's old, is not worth repairing. Now, then don't include them in your insurance plan, and this is how you can save on premium. Now, should you be traveling overseas for your work? Do bear in mind that most of the travel insurance plans that you buy online are actually meant for leisure trips. And a lot of these policies actually have exclusion for professional photography or videography work. So if you read through the policy wording with all that fine print, you'll find that there's this whole list of exclusion. And usually professional photography and videography work, these are excluded, which means that if you are doing this kind of work, your travel insurance will not cover you while you're working. So what you do need is a corporate travel insurance plan. Okay, so it covers you both while working and while you're having your leisure trips. Okay, so the premium for corporate travel insurance is actually very reasonable. It starts from $200 per year per person. Okay, so for any of these plans, if you wish to have more information, you can come and visit the Starlight website or drop us a note to find out more. Okay, so that's all for my sharing for the day. Okay, I'll go back to you, Jayce.
It's actually very informative for a lot of us, especially, if let's say right now we need to choose between, cutting down on our insurance. So it's a good time for us to consider carefully, right? Some of the insurance schemes or some of the insurance are necessary. So maybe let us actually go into the Q&A time. So KQ, are you ready with the first three questions that's targeted at your sharing? So basically,
Yes.
Okay, let me repeat the question. So I think the first question is, should I create an online business to earn some income during this period? Pei Ling, if let's say you have any thought, please feel free to add in as well.
Yes. So answering the first question, the answer is a resounding double fist palm, super yes. Because having multiple streams of income means you have more than one parachute, you have more than one hunting weapon, you have more than one survival tool. So during this period, when your first career path, your first job interest is on pause, there's no income coming in from that, and there's something else that you love to do online and that generates income, of course you must go for it and then experiment and try. And there are many examples of entrepreneurs who succeed only on their third idea, fourth idea, fifth idea. Nobody starts out with one thing, one career, and become immediately successful. So, double fist, double thumbs up, please go for it. And then please post the link to your online business here, and we would love to support whatever you're trying out.
Yeah. So the second question actually is more specific for the production industries, which is on the budget for Hollywood as well as China blockbusters. Since these are the two markets that you're most familiar with. So do you think that the whole COVID will actually affect their production budget?
So it's a short question, but actually it requires a long answer, but I will try to condense it as much as possible because right now we don't have movie freelancers in our audience. It's all kinds of freelancers. I will answer in a way that it will be relevant to non-movie people as well. So for a freelancer and for a client and for a project, the cost that is heavier than money is actually time, right? Money you can make back from a next project that's high profits, but time you lose it. So Hollywood and China movies, but actually it will be the same for projects everywhere. They will need to factor in unexpected delays. Now, what do I mean by unexpected delays? It doesn't mean second half of 2020 and in the years forward, we will suddenly put everything in the rearview mirror. There could be second wave, third wave, fourth wave of quarantines needed. And what happens with that is that, okay, so now you have to put your movie on pause. And for non-movie people, you have to put your project on pause. So you cannot plan your projects or your work in such a way that, okay, I'm just going to do this plan A, and then if Brad Pitt gets quarantined, okay, I'll just wait. Now let's use technology as an example. As a producer now, you definitely have to do a 3D scan of Brad Pitt. You have to think about other tools for a part of your project to proceed. So the interesting answer is that budgets will go up because costs will go up. But it is cost that weighs down the project. So it doesn't mean budget go up, your freelance rates go up. In the post-COVID world, businesses will be impacted by people getting sick. My own guess is that in 2022, there will be people. It's just like people. It might become from a medical perspective bigger or smaller, but people will still be missing time from work, and so you won't be able to function. But the thing is, you have to function, because especially if it's a team project, you can't just wait for one person to finish 14 days quarantine. You can't wait for an entire nation. Sometimes you have to move on. So as a freelance project manager, as an individual freelancer, I think there is greater sensitivity and preparation needed for contingency. So I think previously sometimes we are a bit more happy-go-lucky. In the post-COVID world, we have to factor in more contingency cost into our quotations, and that protects the client, that protects ourselves. We plan for the rainy day, we plan for the cost of the umbrella, we buy it beforehand, rather than just say, oh no, now I have no money for umbrellas. Factor in the umbrellas. That's how you prepare for the post-COVID world.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I thought maybe a related question to this, right? And I would like to ask from Pei Ling, right, to see if you have some thought about this. Is that for production of this skill, we usually always have a production insurance that goes with it, right? So now, taking into consideration of this COVID situation, right? So post-COVID, do you think that the premium for such production insurance will go up, or what will be some of the changes to the policy, to that production insurance that all production companies need to buy, as part of their due diligence for their productions?
Okay, so far for production insurance, right? There are production packages that productions buy to cover lots of locations, lots of props, in case of accidents that will involve third parties, or it could be injuries to crew. Okay, so far, most of these production insurance do not cover, like, let's say if there is if somebody comes down with COVID-19. Okay, the production insurance will not kick in to pay for hospitalization for COVID-19, because usually the insurance that comes with production insurance is personal accident insurance, which covers you for injury while working. Okay, so but production insurance do cover something what we call cancellation and abandonment. That means if there is production delays, or if for certain, let's say, actors come down with COVID, so then the whole production have to be abandoned. okay, for example, then there'll be a sum of money that kicks in to compensate the producers for the losses that they make. Now, for this component, the insurance premium might increase because then you have to factor in the variable when it comes to people falling sick of these kind of illnesses that has never been seen before. Okay, so but so far, all the other items, like for example, for damage of equipment and location, I don't think any of the premiums will change for that. Yeah.
Right, I see. Thank you. So, okay, let's. I'm just trying with this. So there was one question from Dominic, right? Yeah. No. Now we can see the question. So, events are now being cancelled or suspended, right? So LinkedIn is a great way to start, but it's slow to convert. So they would like to hear what are some of the effective platforms that businesses can use to mingle in this period. Do you have any thought on this?
Sorry, Jayce, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Okay. This is the question.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I think, yeah. So Dominic want to know, right? What are the effective platform businesses are using to mingle in this period?
So,
actually, personally, yeah.
Mingling is a more social, less formal form of mingling, but he mentioned LinkedIn. So I assume he's talking more about professional networking events, right? Like a producer's night where people of the similar industry and professional backgrounds come to hang out. So I'm actually not aware of professional mingling online events. So if our audience here knows about events in different sectors, like, okay, this is for finance people, this is for writers, this is for academics, please post the links here as well. I would love to learn about the presence of such mingling events and join in and meet new people on the digital network.
Yeah, I think there is actually some Facebook group that has been set up, right, to bring SME bosses, together, like Singapore entrepreneurs, Singapore SMEs, and all this. So these are all very informal Facebook group, right, that you can be part of. But I always feel that LinkedIn is actually quite an effective platform for me already. Right, already on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach out to almost anybody, and everybody intention on LinkedIn is professional, is want to do business, want to find out more about you. So even though personally I find LinkedIn is slow to convert, but it's still a very good platform for you to get updated informations, right? A lot of people are sharing a lot of reports, research, thoughts on LinkedIn as well. So I think if you're looking at social media platforms, for me, I feel LinkedIn is probably one of the best. Right. Then of course, now because of the circuit breaker, everybody have to stay at home. So in terms of the physical meetup and all this, which used to have pre-COVID, are actually now all cancelled as well. Yeah. So I think when the question say whether any other more effective platform businesses are using to make it in this period, I think for now, for me, it's definitely still LinkedIn.
So I'm the kind of guy that also thinks about not just what people bring to the table, but creating the table. So often people ask about what's on the table, but the thing is, we can be proactive. So answering that question again, it's if those events don't exist, maybe there's an opportunity. You can be the one creating the event and using word of mouth and using various existing platforms, promote it and invite people to these events online. So if it's not there, if we are not aware of it, maybe there will be a need for it, and you can create the event and invite us.
That's right. So y'all can write into KQ from Facebook as well. So okay, so we have Harry who is asking, what are the specific skills that are favorable for freelancers to learn to meet the demand? Well, I guess, okay, going back to my previous sharing, I think one thing that is very obvious from both, from all the three speakers, right, whether it's myself, KQ, and Yan Ling, and Pei Ling, right, is really the digital world is here, right? We all need to know how to survive in a truly digital environment from anything, right? From, getting to know people, through Zoom, through video conferencing, knowing the latest technologies, and also in terms of even selling ourselves, right? How do we actually, use social media platform to create branding for ourselves, to generate leads for ourselves. So I think in terms of if you're looking at specific skills, they are favorable for freelancers. I think irregardless of whatever your trade is, whether you're a cameraman, you're a videographer, you're writers, social media consultants and all this, I think the one important skill set that everybody should have is really understanding personal branding for freelancers, right? Then of course, like what we have actually earlier mentioned as well, diversify of your revenue stream. You must look at different business model. So business skill sets is important, right? If you are looking to survive and to become better and stronger, to actually meet increasing demand. I don't know, Kiki, you have any thought about the specific skills that they need?
I like the word specific because it's easy to have very generalistic answers. So I would very specifically say that language. So imagine you only know English. Okay, that's fine. But if you know Chinese, the entire China market opens up to you. If you're proficient in that language, you open up an entire market. And when I say specific language skill, I mean truly professional level proficiency where you can read the contract in that language, you can communicate ideas efficiently in that language. So during this time, because language is something that whether you are doing music, whether you are communicating a financial plan, a savings plan, whether you are advising someone as a consultant, whether you're writing, language is something that will be applicable to any industry, yet something highly specific, right? Vocabulary, efficiency in terms of your phrasing, and new languages definitely means new clients. And it doesn't matter if you're a 40-year-old freelancer like me. I am still trying to learn new languages so that I am able to have access to greater supply chains across a more diverse region. So my answer to what specific skills that you can enhance during this preparation period, I would definitely call this a preparation period, not a downtime. So during this preparation period, you can definitely enhance very specifically your language skills.
Okay, Pei Ling, have anything to add?
I think okay, I would like to share this very interesting experience I had with a freelancer. Now she is an illustrator. Okay, so I met her during one of those freelancer events, and the thing is, after I just had that brief conversation with her, we exchanged numbers, and then over the next few months, she would text me, maybe like once every 2 weeks, and say, hey, how are you? How have you been? How are your, how's your business? How's your family? Or remember you told me about, you shared with me about this during the networking event. How is this now? So I feel when she was able to have that personal touch, I think I can forget about everything that she has shared with me about her work experience. But whenever I would come across any freelance illustrating job, the first person I would think of is her. So I think being able to stick in there with people and being able to present yourself, not just selling what skill sets. There are so many people of similar skill sets, but what can make you outstanding is your ability to be able to build that personal connection and get in there, and don't feel shy about it. Don't feel shy to ask questions, but really being able to build that network and connection with people, because after all, this is a people business. Freelancing is a people business. In whichever trade you are in, I think the people skill, it needs to be there, and it's something that all of us can build because we are human beings. Okay, so I'm so glad to see there are so many of us that's attending this seminar together, because I think we all want that form of connection. Okay, so we're here to support each other. So hopefully we can all tie through this together.
Right. Thanks, Pei Ling. Okay, so one of the questions, which is also related to Pei Ling, is on the insurance side. Is there a type of insurance that can cover lost income for freelancers?
There is. Okay, so offhand right now, I think NTUC Income has a product to cover loss of income. Okay, and Itika Insurance as well. So these are, I know these are two insurers that have come up with products to cover loss of income, but this is normally due to sickness. Like for example, if I fall sick and I'm hospitalized, then it pays our hospital cash, that sort of stuff. Okay. Now this kind of COVID-19 pandemic situation where you have a loss of income, that's separately. Okay. So, but to answer your question, yes, there is.
Okay, this is a very long question. Sorry, I have to cover your face, KQ. So, what some organization, online or the others, are already doing early future economy studies, which we can tap on to know how we can position ourselves or form strategies. What are some
I'll jump in here. There's actually a website called futureofthebook.org. Now, futureofthebook.org was started almost a decade ago. And it doesn't just look at when it started, obviously, these pandemics haven't been as rooted in the zeitgeist as right now. So futureofthebook.org was really looking at a digital world where the form of the book is deconstructed. For example, can a book be written by 10 digital contributors? How does that work? A digital book, a digital audio book, new forms of the book. So what I mean is that I don't think we should just narrowly look at the future as a post-COVID world. That's part of it, but viruses and unexpected chaos has always been a part of freelancing life, a part of human existence. So I think it would be, we still have to keep that open mind in terms of looking at the future. So it's not just a post-COVID pandemic aware world. So that's why I suggested this website, futureofthebook.org, which was an academic discourse into the written form in new digital vessels, and hopefully that can inspire our friends here to not just look at the world in the post-COVID perspective, but open up your mind to other future trends.
Actually, I think there's actually a couple of international organizations that is actually looking into this kind of future of work, future economy. There's one organization, I think it's called Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, right? But the thing is about all those research and studies, I think one thing is tend to be more generalized. Right. So I think as professional, as freelancers ourselves, or even as self-employed owners, I think we need to be able to actually distill it into your own professions, right? Because there's no way for them to actually, make it so tailored for your purposes, right? Nobody will know your industry better than you are, right? So I guess while there are actually, more concrete study out there affecting the overall economy, but I think you as a freelancer or as a self-employed person, you still need to actually have your own perspective and your own look at how your respective industry will shift and will move, right, in the next 5 to 10 years in that sense. Right. Okay. So I'm very cautious of the time. So maybe we'll just do 2 more questions, and then the rest of the questions over at CreativesAtWork, we will actually sync out with the speakers, and then we'll reply them over at the comments column. So one of the questions that I actually wanted to take up, which I thought is something that maybe is on the mind of a lot of freelancers, is this question, right? So, basically, the fundamental, people will probably, or rather most of us, right, will probably know some fundamentals of digital marketing, right? But at this current situation, right, I would say that it is definitely important to relearn, especially if it's 4 years ago on the digital marketing strategies. But I think more than just digital marketing strategy, I think it's really the ability to actually do it, right? Learning is one thing, right? Taking action is actually another thing, I feel. Because I think a lot of time, we attend courses, we go to a webinar, we go to a seminar. After we hear it, we probably just, okay, forget about it. But I guess, especially for digital marketing, right? Especially for social media, if you don't get your hands dirty, you don't get your hands wet to do it right, you will never get it right. Even if you just study it, right, it will just be theory. I don't know whether KQ will share my sentiment as well.
People definitely need to learn and evolve. So the fact that you listed something from 4 years ago, TikTok wasn't here. ByteDance 4 years ago wasn't one of the biggest tech companies of the world. Do you know ByteDance? Do you know what they do? Are you aware of the tricks on TikTok and how music rights work on YouTube and how music rights work on TikTok and how actually the interesting way of music rights on TikTok has led to its success and how TikTok is being used for the marketing of pop stars? So new platforms will emerge, new ideas and tools will come along. So definitely, pick up, try out new apps. There's no such thing as academically studying marketing. I feel that you definitely need to use the tools for like yourself or on the battlefield. So yeah, totally agreeing with what Jay said. You have to try it out and then you have to evolve.
Right. Okay, great. So let's do the last question, which I think is actually targeting at Pei Ling, right? So it's basically, I think, it's about contract, right? So does the COVID-19 and any subsequent pandemic fall under forced merger or disasters? I think from a contract perspective, because this will impact how producers face up to what will come next and manage risk. This one I think we probably need to ask a lawyer. But I don't know. Pei Ling, do you have a quick sensing?
Okay. I think Juan. Hi, Juan. I think he's trying to see. Let's say if there's already a production ongoing, okay, and you have already bought production insurance, and the insurance has already incepted, and this falls within the insured period, okay. So it wouldn't be new insurance policies whether this will apply, okay. But let's say if I start filming Star Wars and then middle of it, this whole COVID-19 period, COVID-19 came about, then it depends on the policy wording, okay, of that particular insurance policies, whether it covers any of these pandemics, and whether it could then trigger cancellation and abandonment and other kinds of payouts that can come out to cover the production costs. Yeah. So, is that okay?
I'm sure it's okay. Right, but KQ, I think how about your side, right? I think you deal a lot of contract as well, when you're working on China projects or even the Hollywood Tower project. So do you have any experience personally in some of the contracts that you're dealing right now with regards to the current situation?
Usually if it's a force majeure or major disaster, right? Sometimes you can't really cover that. It's a situation where, okay, you know what? Too bad, it's out of everyone's hands. So I actually know the wonderful friend asking that question directly. So how I would mitigate risk is again back to the idea of umbrellas. And then in the movie industry case, there's actually very solid tools now in digital scanning to create a high resolution actor's face with the right facial controls that you can use to mitigate the risk of Tom Hanks getting COVID. Because you can get a second camera, you can get another camera crew, but for producers, the highest risk is always the lead cast. And it's not just the COVID situation itself, but there's always risk of any kind, highway accidents and all that. So there are now digital scanning, because I myself have actually been through situations where actors in the project become a problem, and we digitally erase the actor, and we digitally replace a new actor with 3D technology. And now our lives have become easier with AI programming and more advanced facial acting tools. So I'm actually talking to friends in LA, and we have already set up this digital pipeline. So the pipeline is there to help people mitigate risk. And that tool doesn't just so a shout out to the cool people at Glassbox Text, like glass as in a glass. A shout out to friends at Glassbox Text. You guys can check out Glassbox Tech. So it's just one example of how. So it's not just for movies, right? Imagine your brand ambassador. Imagine you're a digital marketing person working with an influencer. These digital tools would be applicable to your digital sphere as well. So Pei Ling provided more of a financial contractual answer. I just wanted to say that there are other solutions to mitigate risk.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you so much, audience, as well, for staying with us. Thank you, KQ and Pei Ling, for your sharing. Right. I hope you find the session useful. So for now, we'll wrap up tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to see you all quite soon as well. If you'd like to get in touch with us or any of the speakers, feel free to drop them a Facebook note, or even for Creative at Works, you can follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, or even LinkedIn. We also have a podcast resource for freelancers called the Freelance Creative Exchange. Is available on YouTube and all podcast platforms from iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitches, etc. So do like us and subscribe to our channel. So with this, I wish all of you all a good evening and all the best. Hope to see you all soon. Thank you, Pei Ling. Thank you, KQ. Thanks.